Oh, hi. Welcome, everybody, to My Mama Done Told Me. I'm here. My name's Jeff. This is episode 1. I'm Jeff. I'm here with Mom and Lauren.
Hey, what's up?
Y'all need to say hi.
Hey, we're here.
Hi.
We're here. Hey,
Hi, we're here.
Jeff.
We're all over the world. And we're here. Lauren is signing. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's a little bit of American Sign Language. Anyways, welcome to the show. This is our first go at My Mama Done Told Me, and the idea behind our show, I think, is that we get together and we talk, and if people want to listen to it, cool, and if not, that's cool too. And we, whatever. And we're just going to talk about we have some ideas about what we can talk about, things that, maybe influences. A lot of them will probably be things we were, that have to do with a familial relationship, but also just some weird stuff that we'll probably get into, and everything from...
It's going to get weird.
It's probably going to get weird.
Kind of comes naturally.
Yeah, whatever we kind of feel, and if it's no good, well, guess what? We get to listen and say, "Hey, here we go." So we come from all over the place. Yeah. Omaha, Nebraska. Mom's in Texas, and where are you at, Ma? Mercedes.
Rio Grande Valley, Mercedes, Texas.
Mercedes. The Rio Grande. So what's your day, your week been like?
Who talking to?
Anybody. The world.
My week has been
the world over.
Pretty
Thought I found
awesome,
true love.
Actually. You asked me a question and now you're singing over me.
Yeah.
My week has been awesome.
Why?
I got to go see Pantera this week.
Pantera? The Great Southern Trendkill.
Oh my God, it was so good. Even though it wasn't the whole band, obviously, because half
of them were dead. Mm-hmm.
But it was still cool. It was a fun experience. It's a band I never thought I'd get to see live, so that was cool.
So we kind of have our, some ideas, and we're supposed to be sort of keeping some thoughts in our head about what are some things that might be interesting to ask each other, so to sort of maybe stir up some conversation. And the show's called My Mama Done Told Me. We kind of went back and forth with ideas on what maybe this show would be. We had, I did in true classic Jeff fashion, I overanalyzed it and did, tried to make it too organized to the point where we, it ends up feeling a little stale or a little, forced or anything like that. But we had we tried to shoot a trailer for our show, and we just kind of started joking around, and that ended up being a lot more fun. So we said, you know what, heck with the prep work. Let's just kind of think of some things we can talk about, and see what happens. And one thing I was kind of, okay, so have you ever, Lauren, I'm going to start with you. Have you ever in your daily life, and just especially as you continue to age, like the old lady you're becoming, do you ever do or say or catch yourself like doing or saying things that you go, oh, I got that from Mom, or that
sometimes, but most of the time you point it out. You're like, what are you, Mom? Because, Mom, this actually happened not long ago. Jeff called me, or I called him, or whatever, but we were talking on the phone. And he was like, what are you doing? And I go, oh, I'm eating dinner. What are you having? Piece of cheese. And he goes, what are you, Mom? You're just having a little piece of cheese.
You had two almonds, half a grape, and a piece of cheese.
My mom's favorite.
What are you, Mom?
What'd you say, Ma?
You have to have some olives with your cheese.
Oh,
You never do that. You guys both should know that.
Green ones. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gross. So okay, so like for you know, there are things, especially as I get old, like I look at my hands, for example, and
or
I
your
go,
toes.
yeah, not my toes,
Dad.
but
Your
no,
dad? Oh.
Dad's toes are. No, I won't put it up. I won't put him on blast, but yeah, no,
Listen, your
my
toes look just like Dad's.
my thumbs. I have my dad's thumbs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of got me thinking, Mom, what about you? Do you when you go throughout life, was there ever anything like you like laugh or you make a joke or you respond to something or you do something and you go, wow, that's just like my dad. That reminds me of my dad or my mom. Have you ever noticed things about that like that are kind of funny, make you laugh or anything?
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on.
I think no, but I mean, as not that kind of thing. I think my hands kind of look like my mother's looked, but I think about
Does
things
that mean
like
my hands look like your mom's too?
No, your hands don't look like mine. Our hands don't look the same.
Yeah, they do.
You have totally different. No, they don't. They don't. You have totally different nail beds.
Let's
put your hand up right now.
It's not anything like it.
It is too.
No, it's not. It's got 5 fingers. That's about all. They're not the same. They really aren't. But
so, go ahead.
I think about characteristics more than like that type of thing. I guess when I was thinking about that, I thought it's more like from my dad, I feel like I got a kind of a sense of responsibility that he had. You know, I got that from him. And I don't know if that's an inherited trait or if it's a learned trait. And like from my mom, you know, the creativity that she had, I have. So she like with Lauren, you have this too. You can sit all night long and crochet something. You know, you kind of get on that boat,
zone.
you know, and you're like, I'm going to crochet this and I'm going to crochet that. And my mom would do that. And I do that too. Mom had a real love of people. You know, she liked to be socially active with people. And I think I got that from her, or that reminds me of her, whether I got it from her or not. But, you know, that reminds me of my mom. She was very easy to get along with in a group.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that like you bring that up because that's sort of where I was going with that. Like, it got me thinking about the traits, not necessarily the physical. You know, my thumbs being my dad's. I go, you know, oh, that's interesting. That makes sense, though. I mean, genetically, right? But like you were saying, like what are some other? I'd be interested in what you think like is your best traits. And Mom, you've already kind of started going into it. You jumped ahead of me, but that's okay because it's our show and we get to do whatever we want. You know, like we get things from our parents. Sure, we make our own lives, our own characters. We form into our own things, but there are certain things that we adopt from our parental figures and those around us. Whether you know, whether it's so for our listeners, we come from a whole bunch of broken families. Mom was raised by, you know, a dad and a stepmom, and then a mom and some stepdads. And, you know, Lauren and I were raised by our mom and our stepdad and our dad and our stepmom. So it comes from a lot of different figures. It's not just biologically, but, you know, for the sake of our show, since we don't want it to be, you know, too terribly long, I think it'd be interesting if we talk about what some of our favorite and maybe least favorite traits. We don't have to maybe go into that. That might be, you know, but at least let's start with our favorite traits that we maybe think that we took from, or whether we inherited it, whether we learned it, or whether we decided this is something I want to emulate. What those might be. Lauren, do you have thoughts on that?
Absolutely. The first thing that came to mind was kind of what mom was saying before, where it's like I'm very creative. I like to do a whole bunch of everything, like or a little bit of a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, I dabble a lot in a lot of things, and I tend to
Yeah,
get
you do.
and I think I get this from mom a little bit maybe, but I tend to get a little bit of obsessive. Just a
A
little.
little
Just a
obsessive.
little obsessive. But honestly, like I wouldn't trade that because I think
Yeah.
I mean it's cool to have like something that you're really into, in my opinion. And like mom has had that with the cats and with quilting and with her. I
Yeah.
mean, she MLM'd with the best of them.
Yeah, she did.
Aw.
Okay, so let's talk about how many things. Okay, so Lady Remington,
So many.
Weekenders,
Don't even go there.
Pampered Chef,
Pampered Chef,
Avon.
Mary Kay, Avon, beauty control is right.
Tupperware.
Let's see.
Tupperware.
Okay, Tupperware.
Did you say
Did
that?
you ever do Malaluka?
Discovery Toys. I did
Melaleuca, you know she
Melaleuca.
did.
Yes, I did. Discovery Toys. Did you
I
get
just
that
put
one?
Discovery. Yeah, I got that one.
Mom, I didn't even know that. 9.
Oh,
We're at
yeah.
9 right now.
Weekenders. Lady Remington. Oh, Premier Jewelry.
Premier Jewelry, 10.
That's 10. That's good enough.
10. That's a lot.
I think
You
that might be
win.
That's a lot. You win at multi-level marketing schemes.
But
That's
you
a
know
cool
what?
thing
I
to
was
be.
never good at. I
Be
was
the queen
never
of.
good at it.
I
Yes, you
remember.
were.
Oh no,
You
I
were
was
good
never,
at the Pampered Chef presentations.
So was
Yeah.
Jeff.
I was the
What?
Pampered Jeff.
Yes, he was. He was the Pampered
Listen,
Jeff.
I will never forget some of those recipes. They were so good.
Still
I
have
know.
some of the.
Take me to a Pampered Chef party right now.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this
Yeah.
and you want to, and you're in our area, you can invite Lauren to a Pampered Chef party. But
I'll
I'm not
buy
going.
How old were
something,
you?
but I'll mostly
How old
just
were
eat
you?
the snacks.
Yeah.
I was probably
Jeff, how old were you?
11,
Maybe
11 or
10,
12.
9 or 10,
I was going to
11?
say 8, but
Okay.
yeah.
So how long ago was that? It was a long time ago. And I still have almost everything
30
from
years.
my kit that I had. 30 years. 30
Wow.
years.
I still have some.
Yeah.
And it works perfect. I still have
No,
most
you know what
everything that
doesn't
I
work
had.
is the ice cream scoop.
No, the ice
It
cream
had the-
scoop
Well,
it
wasn't
that's
had
the
probably
best.
because you put it in the dishwasher. You weren't supposed to
Okay,
do
the
that.
best thing was the $1.95 potato peeler. I still have that, and it's the best potato peeler you'll ever find in your whole life.
Potato peeler.
I
Okay.
think I
Potato
have a
peeler.
can opener. But on the other hand, so on one hand I have mom. On the other hand, I have dad, who passed down to me his love of music and his
that's true.
eclectic music style. He likes a little bit of everything, which I think I can say for myself as well, but I don't know that I would be that way if he hadn't been an influence on me in that way.
Yep.
And also, like, this is going to sound mean, but like, not mean, but it's going to sound a little bit ageist maybe. But dad continued to go to concerts like, we just went to a concert last summer.
Yeah.
So he kind of showed me that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can go and you can have fun, and you can, and the young kids kind of embrace that. And so I don't ever plan on quitting going to shows. I mean, we're almost 50 and I don't plan on it. I'm not almost 50. My fiance's almost 50.
Yeah. No, so in that regard, I agree with Lauren. So the kind of the topic of our episode is, what's the best trait you've gotten from your mom and or dad or parental figure. And for me, if I were to say, what do I consider the best trait that I got from my mom, what always comes to my head if I think about where mom and I are similar, it's that I have a for better or worse, I have a tendency to almost to take charge when nobody else has been selected there. I have a, Mom, what's this?
Both of you do this.
What's happening?
Both of you do this, I think.
I don't know if I do.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
kind
but-
of shut down. I guess it
Let's talk
depends
about
on what the situation is.
it. Yeah.
So, but I guess what I'm saying is, I almost can't. It takes a conscious effort for me to not take over in situations, to not, and in my life, like I said, for better or worse, I have to, understand, Jeff, there is such a thing as taking over a conversation and not letting people talk. That's not cool, like, because I have a tendency to do that, especially if I get fired up on something. The good thing about podcasting is it's all words. So if you're quiet, then
It works.
yeah, so it works. But
Yeah.
in real life,
Don't worry, Jeff will fill the silence. Don't
no
even worry
kidding.
about it.
But in social
Yeah.
situations too, if work goes and does a team building thing or something, and they're like, somebody, whatever, I'll probably be the first. And I don't consider myself to be extroverted. I really don't. But because I'm perfectly okay being to myself, I can, I don't feel like I have to be out there, but I don't have the fear, I think, of going, you know what? Someone's got to do it. If you need someone to lead this group, I'll lead it. And Mom, I know that comes from you.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from my dad. It doesn't come from,
No.
from learning. That comes from you, because
Yeah.
you've been a part of all kinds of different clubs and groups and quilt bees and all that. And you've become the president of almost every single one of them, because you step up and you go, I could do that. I could handle that. You need, and it's almost, and I think that some people might look at that and go, oh, that's a want for control. And it probably is partially, I want to be able to control the end product. I think we lost Lauren. I don't know what happened.
Neither.
Maybe she'll come back. But anyway, feeling like I feel more comfortable with it if I have some kind of level of control over it.
Right.
But that's never my conscious thought in that situation where I go, I need to control this. It's somebody's got to do it. This is going to be really painful if nobody stands up and takes a chance. So I know I could, hey, somebody's got to get up there and make this announcement. I will. I don't care.
Yep.
It's not so much like I have to be the one to do it. If I'm doing something like shameless plug, I had another podcast called Talkumentary. And so check out Talkumentary. We're a show where we watch documentaries and then get together and talk about them. Anyway, I had that show, but I have such a hard time letting any of the creative license go. Welcome back. Hi, sister. You were frozen like this.
Oh, good. I'm super glad about that. All right, keep going.
Yeah. But anyway, so, it's not usually about control unless it's something that I am trying to create creatively. If I've got a group, if I'm starting a band and I want it to be a certain way and I'm bringing people on board and I wrote the songs and I wrote all that, but then I'm going to be a little bit more particular about being in control. Whereas in other ways, and I feel like this is more like Mom, I I'm okay with doing it. I'm okay with, I need someone to do this. I'll do it. I don't care. Like, you need this, or to go, I guess the other side of that too is seeing something not working well and
That's the big
understand
thing
and
for
being
me.
like, yeah, like,
Do it better.
so, there's a better way to do this.
I can fix this.
And I think I can help
Yeah.
us get there.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Exactly.
To me, that's
Well,
mostly a good thing, but it does create the tendency to take on more than one can chew
right.
sometimes.
Okay, I was going to say we got a message from a lady in Edinburgh, a town close by here, to our quilt bee, and she wanted to know if our bee would be willing to sponsor 12 quilt kits for kids for this summer. Some underprivileged kids are going to get together and learn how to quilt, make a quilt, and they're looking for sponsors to supply all that. Well, so I got the approval to do it, and of course they said, get some people to help you, but I know I can do it better. So I went out yesterday and I bought all the fabric. We're talking, it's 54 yards of fabric. I'm cutting 480 squares plus 240 batting squares and putting them in bags and getting them ready for the kids. But it's important to me to make sure those kits look pretty and they're all done right so that the kids feel special when they get them. So I took that on myself, and, I'm not asking for any help because I know I can do it by myself.
Right. And it's, and
Yeah.
some of that, I'm the same, I have the same tendencies, and, but some of that, it's a trust thing. Like, I don't know that I completely trust that you're going to create a quality enough product, whether it's, especially creatively or, at work. It's hard for me to give some of my responsibilities over to a new manager or something because, I'm going, but this is the way that it works. This is the way that I like it. This is the way that I think it should be run. And I'm afraid that if I hand you this responsibility, it's not going to go, you'll mess it up. And that's not to say anything bad about anybody, because I know that's ultimately, it's very unlikely to be true. They'll probably do just fine, and it'll work out, and it might not be exactly the way that I want it, and that's okay. So that's why I say, for better or worse, I feel like I very much took that quality from you, Ma. And but mostly I'm proud of that. It also allows for taking more chances, taking more, putting myself out there more and things to be proud of and whatnot.
Well, earlier when I said it was both of you that kind of have that trait, I think where my mind went was that when you, Jeff, for you, and I know for you too, Lauren, when you get a job, it's very natural for you to work in such a way that you're advanced very quickly and you're given more responsibility, and you go the extra mile in your job. You're very loyal to your jobs. You're very, I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's like you don't stay in one spot very long because you're too good for that. I mean, you want to do a good job. You do a good job. You look for ways. It's natural for you to push on and push up, which was always, like you said, I end up being the president or whatever. It's mostly because if you do a good job, you're recognized for it. And you guys are that way in your jobs. You're very thorough, and it's noticed, which is a good thing.
Mom, do you think that you got that from someone? Where do you think that came from in your life?
I'm not sure. I don't think I got it from anybody because I wasn't with my dad enough. I certainly didn't get it from my mother. And I wasn't with Dad enough when he was working to have gotten anything like that. So I really don't know where that came from, to be honest. And maybe it was just
that's
a will
fortunate
to
for
survive.
us because.
Well, I think it was a will to survive when I was a kid. I mean, just had to any job I had, it was important and I needed to keep it. They were, and so
True.
you just
Yeah.
did a good job. But yeah,
But it's also,
I don't know.
I feel like it's also not just, getting a job, doing well and keeping it. It's also in life in general, like just being willing to, a person may call it a little bit of extroversion but I kind of take it as more a willingness to put oneself out there and be okay enough with failing and taking ownership of it that you're willing to take the, and I, for example, Mom, you will be the first person to walk up to a stranger and say, oh my gosh, I love your whatever. And, and then all of a sudden it seems like you've known them forever, or you're old buddies with them or something. And, so there are a lot of people that just can't do that. And I think it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about. Just I'm okay with, like, if I go up to you and you give me the cold shoulder and say, back off, weirdo, then I'm going to kind of go, oh, okay, that, wasn't my expected reaction, but whatever, life moves on, right? For some people out there that are more introverted and more, less comfortable in their own skin, if they put themselves out there and said, excuse me, sir, I see you're struggling with your groceries. I'll grab that cart for you. Like, that seems like to you, like, just an easy, nice thing to say. Some people can't even say those words because if they get told bug off, well, then I'm what I feel rejected. I feel, defeated. And you've never been that way. I used to be that way a lot, but I'm not anymore. As I've gotten older, you can ask Nikki, my wife, that, I'll be the random one talking to the person through the drive-through saying, hey, you're doing a great job. Thanks for doing, or going up to a stranger and saying, we've been there. We've had kids that are, pains in the butt too, even though we love them.
Yesterday at Walmart, there was a guy at the fabric counter waiting to find, get something. And I just said, well, they don't mark anything, so you can't tell what it is. So we talked a little bit. When I went out to the car, like an hour later, he was parked right next to me. And he asked me if I needed any help or anything, and it was just like we had made this connection in the store. And he said, who would have ever thought we'd have parked right next to each other? It was just, people mostly like kindness, they like.
And I think that's what it is. And there's a big difference in, yes, there's weird people in this world, but there's a big difference in how you approach it. Like, if you just walk right up and go, hey, let me hold your kid. Like, no, that's not going to be, that's going to put someone, little off-putting. But if you just make people, I mean, most of the time, and maybe we're fortunate enough, we live in Omaha, Nebraska in the Midwest, where people are a little bit more receptive to that than some other places. And, I've got friends from all over the world that, it's not like that everywhere. It's very, keep to yourself and, so I don't know. But anything else before we sign off for the episode? We're about, we're about at time.
I think one other thing that I was thinking about when we were kind of talking and stuff was that I think it kind of ties in with the music thing. Was that open-mindedness that it takes. And I think I got this from both of my parents because I don't remember ever mine.
Our parents. This is Jeff's mama cat right here. Okay.
Maybe I wasn't talking about her, but I was talking about my mom.
Oh,
Lauren's mama cat.
Lauren's mama cat. Okay.
Jeez.
I've never seen that AOL screen name.
I know, me either. It's fine. but but an open-mindedness in all aspects and not just music, because I never once heard from either of my parents like, we don't associate with those type of people, or like any kind of racism or any kind of like, I never got that from either of our parents. It was not a thing. That wasn't a thing that I was even aware was
for the longest time until we get into public school.
I had no idea.
Didn't know.
Right. Well, honestly, like until social media really came along, I had no idea. I didn't know that there was racism.
Right.
You know, like I had no idea that was even, that some people thought that they were better because of their skin color. Like I had no idea that was even a thing. Do you feel the same way, Jeff?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I've ever actually like articulated that thought before, but yeah, I mean, it's when you're raised in a way that you're not looking at people. I mean, I don't remember any specific, and maybe it happened. I don't remember any specific times where we were told like explicitly, we are, you know, all the same and this, that, and the other. It was just a in general acceptance of everyone and who they are. You know, that doesn't mean they're, you know, everyone's, I mean, we live in a society that is kind of, you know, inherently racist in some ways, that I believe, just based on how some of our systems are, but from our home life and what we were around and what we were shown as being, you know, acceptable behavior towards other people. It's not like we were raised in a super diverse, you know, neighborhoods or anything like that.
No.
But we never, like, I don't remember ever being like, oh my gosh, like there's a black guy, or whoa, did you see that Asian? Like
no, that wasn't a thing.
No,
I didn't know that like people thought differently of people from of other races. Like I had no idea that was even a thing.
No,
until
that's a good point. Yeah,
I was an adult, and so I just thought that was worth mentioning, that the accept, like the like racism and all that stuff aside, but like the open-mindedness and not shutting anybody out just because of one little thing that maybe you don't agree with. I feel like is a big part on both sides, dad and mom.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that wasn't the way we were raised. We were raised
right,
and I know that raised in a
That's
very
a good point
different culture. Yeah, I mean we were raised in a way that it could kind of make people's hair stand on end, some of the things that our parents said to us. I don't know so much about Jerry's parents, but mine for sure, you know, in a lot of ways, about not just about one race, but about a lot of different races. So, and I think you have to determine in your mind when you get older and you start having your own responsibilities in your own family, you have to determine in your own mind that that's going to stop and it's going to end. And it's not, Jeff, I remember when you were in preschool and your best friend, you just had a best friend and his name was Julian. Do you remember that?
Preschool?
Yeah, it was like you were maybe 3 or 4, maybe 3. Whoa. And you talked about Julian and Julian this and can Julian come play and all this. And finally, one day we finally set it up. Well, I didn't know who he was. And they were this lovely Black family. You never saw a difference. And that's when I kind of patted myself on the back just a little bit, because you didn't even notice the color of his skin. There was not even a thought in your mind that he had a different color skin.
I don't even remember Julian.
I don't know, but maybe he'll listen to this. You don't know. If you did, Julian, that was great. Yeah, you guys were really
Julian,
good.
reach out to us. My mama done told me podcast@gmail.com. Reach out to me.
There you go. We want to hear from you, Julian.
Yeah. So to our listeners out there, we'd like to know, what do you think is the best trait that you inherited from your mother or father? Tell us what you're proud of in yourself that you can attribute to either learning from or being around, or just that is in your blood. we'd be very interested to hear that. This has been an episode of My Mama Done Told Me. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Mom and Lauren, you guys are the best.
I know.
Love you.
Love you too. All right. Well, until next time, this has been My Mama Done Told Me. You can find us on they're on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us where else? I'm trying to get us. I think I have accounts on X, old Twitter. I have a TikTok.
I don't even know what that
is.
is.
Yeah, I know. Nobody does. A Facebook. So find us on all that stuff. I'm sure if you put in My Mama Done Told Me podcast, you'll find it. But I'll also have links to all that in the show notes. Thank you, Lauren. All right, signing off. Thanks, everybody. Have a good time. We hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. Good night.
Night.
Adios. Adios.
Okay, that was the end of episode 1. You guys want to do another episode?
Sure.
Real quick?
Yeah, I think so. I need to pee.